Hello student, I am Dr. Pooja Pandey, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce and Financial Studies, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur. In the last lecture, I have discussed the conceptual framework of marketing research, and today I will discuss the different methods and types of marketing research. Let's discuss the different types of marketing research method. Marketing research uses four types of research design. Firstly, qualitative marketing research. This is generally used for exploratory purposes, and the data collected is qualitative and focuses on people's opinion, attitude towards a product or services. And the important objective of qualitative research is to gain insights into the deeper motives behind consumer purchases. Generally, qualitative research in and of itself is not conclusive. However, it is used to explain quantitative research results, conduct market research when traditional surveys are not available, and conduct market research when more structured research is not possible. And in this type of research, the respondents are generally few in number and the findings cannot be generalized to the whole population. And in this method, no statistical methods are generally applied. For example, focus groups, in-depth interviews, etc. Second type is quantitative marketing research. Quantitative marketing research is the collection of numerical data, often resulting in statistical analysis to understand trends in the data. And the main characteristics of this market research is that it allows for comparison and trends in the data to be easily found and understood. This type of research is generally used to draw conclusion for a specific problem. It tests a specific hypothesis and uses random sampling techniques so as to infer from the sample to the population. And it involves a large number of respondents as compared to qualitative research, and analysis is carried out using statistical techniques. And the goal of quantitative research is to quantify and generalize the result so that the marketer can come to a final conclusion about the best course of action. And there are several different types of data collection in quantitative market research, such as face to face, telephone, email, web services, etc. And the third type is observational techniques. The researcher in this technique observes social phenomena in their natural settings and draws conclusion from the same. And it is also known as field research. This is a category of market information collection in which the researcher observes the ongoing behavior of the study participants, and it is used with participants in naturally occurring situations such as students in a classroom, employees at work, or customers in a restaurant. And the observations can occur cross sectionally or longitudinally. The example of this type of technique is product use analysis and computer cookies tracking. And the next is experimental techniques. Here, the researcher create a quasi artificial environment to try to control spurious factors, then manipulate at least one of the variable to get an answer to a research. For example, test marketing and purchase laboratories. And in this case, more than one research design could be used at a time. And for the marketing research, They may start with secondary research to get background information, then conduct a focus group to explore the issues. Finally, they might do a full nationwide survey in order to devise specific recommendation for the client organization. Let's discuss different types of marketing research. As the slide shows, there are two main types of marketing research, that is exploratory and conclusive research. And here, conclusive research is further divided into descriptive and experimental research. So let's discuss what is exploratory research. Basically, it is the one wherein the information is collected in an unstructured and informal manner, often used when little is known about the problem. And the important aim of the exploratory research is to find the most likely explanation or finding new ideas or defining the problem so that it may be solved by conclusive research. The important features of exploratory research are firstly high degree of flexibility and constantly changing focus of investigation is required, and there are new possibility or new ideas are explored. Secondly, in this type of research there is absence of formal design, while imagination of the researcher remain the key factor. And the next is it relies mainly on secondary data sources. And the next is it uses convenient or judgment sampling. And the next feature is small scale survey or simple experiments are done in exploratory research. And the important means of taking up exploratory research are: first one, search of secondary data. Professional and trade journals and reports of research organization, companies reports, etc. are the useful resources of information and more valuable, meaningful, quick, objective and reliable. If it is organized, even if exploratory research design is lacking the formal design, and the secondary source of data is more reliable as compared to other. Second means is survey of knowledgeable person with idea. And in this type of research, people who have any association with the marketing and selling efforts of the products, services in organization, such as sales representative, top executives, people in the distribution network, regular customers, business associates, or persons who are dealing in related products. And in this type of research, respondents are given greatest freedom in the survey so that new ideas and real problem in hand can be captured. And the popular means to capture response includes depth interviews, focus group interviews, role playing, role rehearsal, etc. And the next mean is depth interviews or motivation research. Generally, we can say this methodology involves interviews with individual on one-to-one basis in depth. Generally, deep interviews taken with the different interviewer about the topic of interest, and being an individualistic approach, it is often costly and time consuming. And the next is focus group interviews. Under this type of group interviews, there are multiple groups of 6 to 12 consumers or persons, and they are brought together at one place to discuss the topic of interest after the lead provided by the moderator with general comment and the feedback, the opinion of the groups are taken, and the role of moderator is of prime importance, and the opinions are generally considered for decision making activities. And the next is projective device for role playing. Generally, in this method, respondents are presented with some idea or situation or some role to play. Basically, respondents are given a situation in which they have to play, they have to think according to themselves, and their responses or reactions are recorded to explore the hypothesis. And the next is analysis of selected case studies. Basically, in this method, intensive study of a relative small number of situations, that is, for example, a few retail stores or town markets or units or a small market segment units are taken, and these units are called a case, and the emphasis is on obtaining a complete description and understanding of the relationship of factors in individual cases. And this method can be used both for exploratory as well as for conclusive studies, but more often it is used in case of exploratory study. So coming to the conclusive research. So first of all, what is conclusive research? Conclusive research is meant to provide information that is useful in reaching conclusions or decision making. It tends to be quantitative in nature, that is to say in the form of numbers that can be quantified and summarized. And there are two types of conclusive research, that is descriptive research and experimental research. So firstly, what is descriptive research? Generally, it is a type of research which is descriptive in nature and helps to describe the phenomena in terms of relationship of variables involved in it. And it is of two types, case study and statistical study. And generally, descriptive research uses secondary data and survey research. The important cases of inquiry that typically need description of this sort can be the characteristics of users of a given product, consumer profile studies, market potential studies, product usage studies, attitude surveys, sales analysis, media research, price surveys, etc. And the important characteristics of descriptive research is this type of research basically focuses over accurate and complete description of the variable in the problem. As the name suggests, descriptive research, so it focuses on complete description. And secondly, it uses secondary data and survey research. And the next is, this type of research need formal design to cover all phases and to forestall collection of unnecessary data. And the formal design generally includes precise statement of problem, statement of definite purpose, specific method of data collection and analysis, etc. And the one important feature of descriptive research is generally it uses careful design to ensure complete description of the problem and minimum bias. As there are two types of descriptive research, so let's discuss what is case study. Generally, we can say case study research involves an in-depth study of an individual or group of individuals. Case study often leads to testable hypotheses and allow us to study rare phenomena. And case studies should not be used to determine cause and effect, and they have limited use for making accurate predictions. And in case of use of case study in descriptive research, the procedure will be more formal so that the points to be investigated are definitely known. And we can say when the results of exploratory research hints towards need of further in depth study and the need of definite points to be investigated along with the finality of the results, and a descriptive, formal, and research is followed. Generally, there are two serious problems with case study, that is, expectancy effects and atypical individuals. Expectancy effects include the experimenter's underlying biases that might affect the actions taken while conducting research, and these biases can lead to misrepresenting participants' descriptions. And describing a typical individual may lead to poor generalization and detract from external validity. And next, that is statistical study method. It generally involves study of few factors in a large number of cases, and the important feature of statistical studies are that is it uses a number of statistical techniques and methods that are designed for mass data, and it focuses primarily over the cross classification through average, measure of dispersion, etc., instead of taking up individual cases. And next is in statistical study, majority of marketing research studies are taken up by researcher. Now I'm going to discuss experimentation research. So what is experimental research? Generally, it is also known as causal research, and this is a type of research that specifies the functional relationship between two or more variables in the problem model, that is, establishing the cause and effect relationship between the marketing variables. And causal research design answers the question of why. The marketing variables expected to be in a cause and effect kind of relationship are observed in judgment of effect of advertising on sales, impact of change in the product design over the demand, and the impact of change in the manufacturing process over market share, etc. And experimental is a research process in which one or more variables are manipulated under controlled conditions which permit the collection of data and observance of the effect. And in this type of research, artificiality is the essence of the experimental method that gives more control to the researcher over the factors to be studied. And experiments can be taken up in both laboratory and field. And this type of research generally answer the question of why. Thank you.